qualifying, as we will set the grid for the third race of the Chase in the 2010 season. A lot of cars were strong so far in practice. Who's the favorite for the pole? Well, that's what we will find out. But one thing we do know for certain is the weather this weekend in Kansas is absolutely phenomenal. Beautiful all weekend long, 75 degrees right now, low humidity, low winds, and the forecast is sunny. Want to welcome in our good friend Darrell Waltrip, joining Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds. I'm John Roberts. We're so glad you could be with us for Sprint Cup Series qualifying. And one phrase we heard last weekend, and we heard it over and over on the 48 team, maximum points. And that's exactly what they did, Darrell. They started out the weekend, they won the pole, led the most laps, won the race, and that's how you get maximum points.
That's their vision. That's how they win the chase. They don't go into it and say, oh, we qualified pretty good. Yeah. Oh, no, we got a pretty good finish. They go in it to win. And that's what I think the message that they have sent to these guys from day one. You got to be able to win races if you want to win the chase. And that's what they do.
Sounds to me like they took a page out of Junior Johnson's playbook. Remember, he used to tell us when we were behind, the best way to make up those points, win races.
Max points.
Max points.
When you think about it, we've had 62 chase races in the history of the chase. Jimmy Johnson, that 48 team, they've won 19 of those 62 races, roughly a third of them.
I was going to say, we'll let JR do the math since he's so good at numbers. How would that work out, JR?
Arithmetic is my thing. It's a lot. It's a heck of a lot, and that's why they have 4 championships. It's pretty easy to count up those championships. They've all come in a row. And again, rumors of the demise of the Jimmy Johnson organization there and that Hendrick Motorsports team have been greatly exaggerated so far, because people said, okay, this is the year that Superman has a dent in his armor. But it doesn't look that way after Dover.
No, I kind of chuckled. I mean, after New Hampshire, you know, everybody said, we got them. And everybody going into the chase was really, really excited. They said, it's going to be the best chase ever. And I kind of agreed, because some cars are running better this year. The Childress cars are running better. The Roush cars are running better. More competition. But after New Hampshire, everybody said, you can count the 48 out. We got his number, baby.
Yeah.
After Dover, they said, uh-oh.
and Larry, here's something that threw us for a loop in the chase. When we had the first race, Clint Boyer was in the 12th position, moved up to second with the win by winning the first race of the chase. Then the fine and the penalty came down, 150 points, put him back to 12th. A bad race after that has thrown a monkey wrench in the whole thing.
And that's certainly been the big story over the last couple of weeks, because Richard Childress Racing appealed that penalty. It was heard this past Wednesday. The committee upheld the penalty. So in other words, it's still $150,000, 150 driver and owner points. You have the right to appeal it one more time. It will go before the NASCAR Chief Appellate Officer, John Middlebrook. A single person will listen to that appeal next week. He has the right to either uphold the penalty, overturn the penalty, or reduce the penalty. So they're still trying one more time. But when you think about it, 225 points out with 8 races to go, I honestly believe that's unsurmountable because of how many teams are in front of him.
And really, you heard Boyer say that he thought that really got into his head at Dover last week. Yep. And I think it got into Kevin Harvick's head a little bit too. So that's 2 members out of the 3 of that team that were affected by that penalty. Whereas I think if that was a 48 team and it was one of their cars in the chase, it wouldn't have affected them at all.
But I will say it looks like that they are back on track, because at least in practice earlier, that 33 car was pretty fast.
All the RCR cars were.
Homeboy.
Let's hear what Clint Boyer had to say earlier today.
I'm very disappointed, not surprised at all. You know, and that's it. I'll just leave it at that. You know, I'm looking forward to getting that behind me. It's an important weekend. You know, I made some mistakes on the track last week that were uncharacteristic of myself. We made some mistakes as a team that were uncharacteristic, and you know, our heads weren't 100% in the game. You know, I don't want this mess to bother us anymore. I'm at my home track. I'm having fun, and you know, that's what I aim to do.
Now, the first appeal for Richard Childress Racing was in front of a panel of people. This one, now that we go to NASCAR's equivalent of the Supreme Court, is just one guy.
One guy. We've already talked about it. John Middlebrook will be the gentleman to get an opportunity to hear what's being said. But I think Larry did some research, and when we talk about going to the final level with NASCAR, I think there's been 12 of them that have been appealed to the second level. 8 of them, Larry, I think it wound up where it was upheld. 3 were reduced, and only 1 had been overturned. So really the odds are going against the 33.
So while the appeal is ongoing, Shane Wilson, the crew chief, can still be at the racetrack. When we come back, we'll get down to the business of setting the field for the Price Chopper 400.
Callahan, you're on desk duty. Turn in your weapon.
These just got more awesome. Download and watch them on the go at 4G speeds with the Epic 4G, the smartphone ranked #1 by PC World.
Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
When it comes to energy bills, let's see how low we can go. Let's do some little things that help us save big. Add some insulation here, a little weather stripping there, maybe an Energy Star rated appliance or two. Let's save money on the things that keep saving money. That way we can turn a little energy into a lot of savings. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of staying at room temperature with Owens Corning insulation, just $10.44 per roll.
People say it's me versus 11 other drivers. Not quite.
It's me versus the glare of the midday sun.
Me versus fate, luck, chance, the racing gods.
Versus a dwindling 18-gallon fuel tank.
Versus my own family. Versus 42 other destinies. Mostly, it's me versus my place in this sport.
My legacy. My legacy.
My legacy versus myself.
The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Who will be the last man standing?
Speed's presentation of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying from Kansas is presented by Subway Restaurants. So many $5 foot-long subs to choose from. Enjoy amazing value at Subway all day, every day. Brought to you in part by Arctic Cat. Great deals at the Gone Wheelin' sales event. Arctic Cat, share our passion. And by Toyota. And we are now set for Sprint Cup Series qualifying. We will set the grid for race number 3 of the 2010 chase for the Sprint Cup. And gentlemen, somebody to keep an eye on here was very fast in the first practice session. The first part of the first practice session was Sam Hornish.
Well, he still wound up in the top 15 as far as that practice was concerned, but it seemed like he was good right off the truck. But the problem is, and Darrell, we've talked a lot about it, you never like to go out first, unless exception to maybe be Indianapolis where, you know, qualifying early in the morning is a plus. Going out early, usually, nothing else, it just gets in your head.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the angle of the sun. It's how the sun is shining on the turns. And once the sun starts to set, one end of the track's going to get a little bit more heat than the other. That's what changes the conditions. But right now, this guy right here, he's driving for his job. He's trying to impress somebody.
We heard from Clint Boyer a second ago on tape. Let's hear from him now live with Bob Dillner.
Well, JR, it's been a tumultuous couple of weeks for Clint Boyer, obviously, but is it good to come home to Kansas and qualify this race car today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a good way to get things put behind you, is come here, and a good run here in qualifying goes a long way, so it's a good run on Sunday. So looking forward to this lap. We got a good car. You know, Cheerios Hamburger Helper Chevrolet was good right off the truck, so hopefully we can, you know, put it up there close to the front, if not on the spot.
And tonight he's going over to Lakeside Speedway to run his dirt modified.
Now, Sam Hornish didn't quite get back to what he ran in practice. He just ran a 31.17. In practice, he ran a 31.05. We anticipate, based on what we saw in practice earlier, because the grip level really starts to go away, of our top 35, most of them will run one lap and be done.
Yeah, there's kind of two styles of qualifying, I think. You can drive into the first turn as hard as you can possibly go and try to make up time getting in the corner. Or you can roll out the throttle a little bit easy, a little bit early, and pick the throttle up early in the middle of the corner and make time off the corner, which I think is the best way to do it, because it makes the straightaway so much longer. When you run from the middle of the corner off, you got more straightaway.
Yeah, JR and Jeff and I, you know, we did that practice earlier, and there were a lot of drivers talking about maybe I overdrove the entrance just a little bit.
It's tempting, man. It's tempting.
Front Row Motorsports, David Gilliland out on the racetrack right now, and he brings that number 37 down on the apron.
Got close to what he ran in practice. He just ran a 31.48. That's getting within a tenth or so of what he ran in that 31.34.
But Larry, it was cooler this morning when these cars first went out, and you got to believe with the amount of rubber that's been laid down, and as hot as it is right now, they're going to run slower.
Tony Raines, Jamie McMurray, and Juan Pablo Montoya coming your way, as well as Casey Kane. Got to take a quick break. We'll be back with qualifying in a moment.
Tonight, four-time defending Cup champion Jimmy Johnson joins the biggest party in NASCAR.
You know, it's all that I know. It's all that I want to do is drive a race car.
Don't miss NASCAR Trackside from Kansas tonight at 7 Eastern.
Only on Speed.
Opulence. I has it. I like the best. This one. But I also like savings the money. So when DirecTV tell me 5 months free for most premium televisions package, I jump in it.
Forget cable. Switch and get 5 months free. Ends October 6. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
We now offer phone service.
Well, Mom, it's official. I have moved back home. I just changed the address on my car insurance, and they only charged me a $50 broker fee.
What?
Ow, Mom.
Oh, if you're going to live under my roof, you need to start making better decisions. Let's call Dashers.
At Dashers, you can get liability auto insurance starting as low as $1 a day, and you'll never pay a broker fee for routine services. Call 1-800-222-9222. Dashers, Dashers.
Is your internet fast?
Or just fast enough?
If your internet was faster,
Could you get more done?
Could more speed
Lead to more business.
We thought our internet was fast.
we've just gotten used to slow.
DSL is outdated technology.
It's archaic.
It's a relic.
We had a growing business.
Our internet needed to catch up, so we switched.
We switched.
We switched to Comcast Business Class. Faster than DSL.
Faster than T1.
Super fast internet.
Period.
It's time to get fast internet from Comcast. Call 1-800-391-3000.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sprint Cup Series qualifying for the Price Chopper 400. 3 cars have gone so far. Tony Raines in the 71 is the third of 3 qualifiers. Right now, Jamie McMurray in the 1 car out on the racetrack, and he spent a lot of time in the first position when these races have started this year. He has a pole run in California, Darlington, and Chicago.
And he was one of the few cars that ran under 31-second flat, and he just now got down into that pole range going off into turn 3.
And by luck of the draw, we're going to have the 2 Earnhardt Ganassi cars coming out together because the next driver is Juan Pablo.
Did get off turn 4 good at all, and that really hurt his time.
Well, I think Larry lost a lot of time off of 2 over there. It looked like the car really wanted to shove up the hill with him. Took a lot of, see right there, took a lot of speed out of the car, I think.
Now, he looks like he's going to be the first car to go ahead and attempt to run a second lap, but I don't think it will be to no avail.
You think that's a good idea till you get about right here. You say, well, that was a waste of time.
So for McMurray, his second lap coming around, gets down on the apron of the racetrack, and he'll find himself second of the 4 cars that have gone so far.
Now, the bad news for his teammate, Juan Pablo Montoya, there really won't be any time. As you can see how hot this thing gets running that second lap, but Montoya's headed out now. No chance to make an adjustment based on what McMurray felt with his lap.
See, that's one of the things a driver has to remember. We made the car faster. You don't have to drive it faster. We've taped up the nose. We've pumped up the tires. We've put some timing in the motor. Don't overdrive the car. Just drive the car like you did in practice. We made the car faster.
Let's now go to Wendy Venturini, who is standing by with our fastest qualifier so far. Wendy?
Thank you, Johnny. Earlier this morning's practice, Sam Hornish was fast in race runs. How did you feel about that qualifying effort at 31:17? Not exactly what you wanted to back up, I'm sure.
Definitely not the qualifying draw or the lap that we really wanted, but the track here seems like it cools down so fast that the guys that get a chance to go out late really pick up a lot, but wasn't a terrible lap for where we had to go out. The AAA Dodge was pretty good. Just a little bit off what we thought it was going to do. Don't want to say too much because, help give some people an opportunity to beat us, but our car was pretty good in race runs, so always love coming out here to Kansas. It's one of my favorite places. I think one of the only places I ever won on my birthday, so I always enjoy coming out here and to see what we can do this weekend. Feel like the car's pretty good so far.
All right, good luck to Sam Hornish. We have a long qualifying session in front of us. Johnny?
As of right now, Juan Pablo Montoya, Earnhardt Ganassi cars are qualifying well. Montoya's on the top of the chart.
Typical Montoya, didn't run the same line everybody else does. He was much higher on the racetrack, particularly in 3 and 4. He wasn't hugging the white line. He was middle of the track, keeping that momentum up.
But he's about 2/10 off of what he had practiced at earlier. So, again, Darrell, it looks to me like the racetrack itself doesn't have the speed it had in it earlier. It'll be interesting to see as we go later in this qualifying round if the later draw starts to produce a little bit faster speed.
2 poles so far this season for Juan Pablo. Has one at New Hampshire and one at Indy as well, and also had that win on the road course at Watkins Glen. Now, Clint Boyer racing in front of his hometown crowd here certainly wants to be in the headlines for a different reason this weekend.
The only thing we didn't really mention when we were talking about the penalty and the appeal is, remember, part of the penalty was crew chief Shane Wilson and car chief Chad Haney suspended for 6 races. Well, until the appeal is heard for the final time, they are still here at the racetrack. Their suspension does not have to start until the appeal is pretty much listened to for the final time.
Larry, I made the point that I think Childress going to the next level, actually it's like being a friend of the courts, because John Middlebrook is a former GM of General Motors. So, I mean, if there was anybody that was going to rule in your favor, it would at least, you would think it'd be somebody that at least knows you very well and understands kind of what's going on.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of head scratching, though, as far as this qualifying session. You go back a while ago, Clint Boyer was 7th quickest at a 31:01. He's 4th out of 6 now to 31:25.
2/10 slower.
We got to take a quick break here. When we come back, we still have Carl Edwards and Casey Kane coming your way.
You can't get closer to NASCAR than this.
NASCAR Race Hub Monday through Thursday nights at 7 Eastern. Only on Speed.
The Motorsports Authority.
I'm really proud to be a part of it. Love, it's pretty amazing.
Her name is Amanda Brookman, and she is my destiny, although she may not know that, per se. So you can go online and make any kind of car you want. I made a love car.
Do I think they stand a chance? I mean, who doesn't love love?
I love love.
What will you design? ToyotaRacing.com.
Who?
Is your computer running slowly?
Software represents the human intelligence behind computerized functions. The Software Applications Development Program in the School of Information Technology at ITT Technical Institute teaches common technologies and skills that are used in software development. Graduates of this bachelor degree program may pursue career opportunities in a variety of entry-level positions. ITT Technical Institute School of Information Technology. Education for the future.
Call toll-free 1-800-989-1329.
Have you looked at your bill yet?
Your phone bill, your internet bill.
We looked at our bill from the phone company. We were wasting money.
Throwing it away.
I hate wasting anything, especially money.
We wish we'd looked sooner.
Ridiculous. Shocking. So we switched.
We looked at our bill and we switched to Comcast Business Class.
Great deal.
Fast internet.
Better phone, tools from Microsoft.
So, have you looked at your bill yet?
Find out how much your business can save. Call Comcast at 1-800-391-3000.
Welcome back to Kansas Speedway, everyone. Carl Edwards, the number 99 driver for Roush Fenway, out on the racetrack right now. While we are away, Travis Quapple in the 34 clocked in at 6th fastest of the 7 cars that have gone so far. Carl Edwards been to victory lane here before, but it was in the truck series, won the 2004 truck race here.
Larry, that's pretty interesting. He dipped down on the apron, taking the green. And normally you would take the green up on the racetrack and then dip down coming to get the white or checkered. Ah, man, he took the thing right down on the apron, getting the green.
He was really quick right there all the way till he got off the exit of turn 2, and then he lost a lot of speed.
It's almost like he was taking the theory of the shortest distance around this track.
Yep.
So sounds like, well, from up here, it sounded like he shut it down, but he's just keeping on digging.
No, he's off of it.
He's off of it now,
He's coming to the one and done.
He is 5th of the 8 cars that's qualified. Wendy.
Thank you, Larry Mack. I'm with Juan Pablo Montoya, who's on the pole right now. The track seems a little bit slower, Juan. What did you assess out of that lap?
It was a good lap. You know, Target Chevy's been pretty strong. We were really fast in practice. Ran a little bit slower. So it's always when you run slower in practice and in qualifying and practice kind of sucks. But I think the track's slower. Everybody seems to be running a little bit slower. Now the question is going to pick up as it cools down a little, so we'll see.
All right, good luck to Juan Pablo, whose best start here in his 3 starts at Kansas has been 14th.
And Johnny, we were watching as we went to break. We saw him talking to one of his shock engineers, and it looked to me and Darrell like he was showing that the car was kind of, getting a little bit loose and sitting over on the right rear, made it a little bit hard for him to get back in the throttle like he really wanted to.
Yeah, it looked like it just wasn't as consistent as a feel as he was looking for. Car was moving around quite a bit.
Unadilla, Georgia's David Reagan is out on the racetrack right now.
Did you see what he did? Yeah, he eased that thing in the corner and then really picked the throttle up hard. I think he's going to lose a little bit late exit, but he definitely made up a lot more off the corner than he did getting in going into 3.
Yes, he did. That's a good run right there by David Reagan.
Good run by David Reagan, but not good enough to unseat Juan Pablo Montoya. That is currently second out of 9 cars that have gone. David Reagan finds himself in the second spot.
But he's the first guy so far, JR, that's picked up speed since we started this qualifying deal. So everybody needs to pay attention to what the 6th driver just did.
Casey Kane, Brad Keselowski, Tony Stewart still yet to qualify when we come back.
In the number 3, Wrangler Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I'm a Wrangler guy. Always have been, always will be.
Wrangler Jeans Company. Great fits, unbeatable comfort.
Gotta say, nothing beats Wrangler comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
You think if the game wasn't on today, we'd be out here around this grill?
Probably not.
Come on, man, you're not seeing the big picture. Football was created to make us grill. Look, how many letters in football?
7, 8.
How many letters in grilling?
7, 8.
What's the past tense of eat?
Eat it. 8.
8. Pretty strange.
Yes, you are.
Regrouting my shower.
And?
Made a lot of trips.
3?
5.
Too many. Got what you need?
Do now.
Give it a full day before you use the shower.
Did not know that.
Do now.
I like feeding birds.
Got wild bird food, 3 for $9.99. Save over 50%.
Got lots of cleaning to do.
Got a push broom and angle broom bonus pack. Special purchase just $9.97. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
This conversation
never happened.
For the right tools, products, and advice, True Value. Start right. Start here.
Nice ride, hot stuff.
It's the new line of Arctic Cat ATVs, loaded with great features such as power steering, ride-in suspension, and on-the-fly four-wheel drive. And now you can get a great deal on these go-anywhere machines at the Gone Wheelin' sales event. Arctic Cat, share our passion.
Hey, it's me, Water. Check this out. Booyah! Shazam! H2O. Hydrolicious. Magic bananas. It's the first one-click faucet filter that removes 99% of lead and microbial cysts. Adios, contaminos.
Back at Kansas, and while we were away, Casey Kane jumped to the top of the speed chart in qualifying here for race number 3 of the chase. Our good friend Larry McReynolds always tells us it doesn't cost a dime to pay attention. Obviously, Kenny Francis and Casey Kane have paid attention to what was going on in between practice and qualifying.
Seemed like he did the same thing that David Reagan did. He eased the thing down into the corner, backed the corner up, we like to say it, and then really ran hard from the center off. Now, Brad Keselowski right now, 1 and done, 6th quickest.
Yeah, Larry, the 9 car got through 1 and 2 so fast that you got to remember that when you get to turn 3. Get out of it a little bit early and let that car get in there, because if you don't, you'll just ruin the whole lap by overdriving the turn.
Brad Keselowski got his first Cup pole at New Hampshire in 44 races, and looks like this one is not going to be a pole effort, but he's still 6th fastest of the 11 cars that have taken time.
No, I think he's going to be pretty happy with that, too. He's just a little bit off of what he had practiced at, but again, what I'm trying to figure out is these guys, like Darrell's saying, is how far can you go into turn 3 and not hurt your exit off of turn 4? That's where everybody's been giving back a lot of speed. Here's a guy right now that I'm going to be watching real close is Tony Stewart, because Larry pointed out earlier, if he wants to have a good weekend, it's going to start right here during qualifying.
Let's go to Wendy Venturini, who is with the guy who is currently on top of the chart. Wendy?
Casey Kane ran a 30.92, first guy in the 30s in this qualifying session. How did you feel the track has slowed up, or did you feel it got a little better for you in this qualifying effort?
Well, I felt like my car was a little better than what it was in practice. Budweiser, Ford, the guys did a nice job. So he made some gains there, but it still kind of moved a little too much. I don't think that's quick enough for a pole, but it's we made gains, so that's good. And I'd say the track's actually a little bit slicker right now.
All right, good assessment by Casey Kane, who started from that top spot back in 2006. John?
And Wendy, Tony Stewart is one of 2 drivers with 2 victories on this racetrack. Last one coming last season as a chaser. He won here, and as of right now, Tony finds himself 4th out of the 12 drivers that have gone.
But, you know, to support what Jeff was saying a while ago, we had talked about this in the practice, and what we meant, if you look at the last 4 or 5 races, if Tony Stewart qualifies good, he runs good in the race. He did it at Atlanta. He did it at Loudon. at Richmond, where he struggled in practice and qualifying last week at Dover. Regardless of the pit road speeding penalty, he did not run good during the rest of the weekend or in the race.
So out of the 12 cars that have run so far, Casey Kane's still the fastest, but here comes Kurt Busch. Now, when it comes to 1.5-mile racetracks, recently Kurt Busch has been tearing them up, all but this one.
This is one, if you read his quotes all week long, this is the one they had circled, and not for good reasons. Of his 9 starts here, his average finish is almost 20th. Only 2 top 10 finishes. He said, if we can get through this race, a lot like what Denny Hamlin said about Dover, if we can get through here with a top 10, we'll feel like we're in good shape.
I kind of like the theory, though, that, you know, he doesn't have any teammates in the chase, and he actually says that's a good thing, because it lets the other 2 teams try things that he might be able to apply to his race.
Yeah, because I know for sure the 77 car, Sam Hornish and Travis Geiser, they unload exactly like this 2 car every week. Work from there to be able to feed this 2 car, Steve Addington and that group, some information.
Well, so far he is definitely better. He's now 3rd quickest in his qualifying session.
Let's go to Bob Dillner, who's standing by with the 4-time champion.
Jimmie Johnson strapping in behind the wheel of his race car right now. And you've been busy on pit road. You visited Jeff Burton. You've been on the radio. What you been doing?
Just talking a little bit. Bert and I were talking about last weekend, and those guys put a lot of pressure on us there at the end. So just kind of talking about that some, and then just trying to get a feel for what's going on. I watched the first few cars, and just want to know if we need to adjust tire pressures any, but it's real tough to say what we need to do. But I know I need a good lap. It was tough to get a good lap in practice, and I hope I can do it here today.
Well, the big thing, guys, for all these guys here, the track temperature honestly has been pretty consistent from the beginning of nationwide practice to the end of nationwide practice, and only bumped up 1 degree.
But see, Jimmie Johnson, he'll be the first of the Hendrick cars to go out. He has no teammate to feed off of that will be going out before him.
And he didn't want to listen to Casey Kane, because Casey Kane said, I don't know, it seems slicker to me. Maybe he was throwing him a curveball. What do you think?
Absolutely.
You drivers wouldn't lie to one another, would you?
If we thought somebody was listening, we would.
Kyle Busch is currently 3rd in points. He's got a couple of poles so far this season, 1 at Pocono and 1 at Richmond. And let's see how he can handle this lap.
Now he looks like he is 7th. With a 31.18, and he'll pretty much shut it down.
All quiet on the racetrack for Kyle Busch. We've had 14 cars take times. Kyle Busch finds himself in the middle of that pack in the 7th spot right now. His teammate, Denny Hamlin, is up next.
And we talked about teammates going out, and actually Mark Martin is scheduled to go out here shortly. Mark Martin in the 5 car has still not made a lap on this racetrack today. They ended up having to change their engine after fighting fuel pressure, as well as Marcus Ambrose in the 47 car had engine failure. So those 2 cars, they have been excused for the time being.
Marcus Ambrose was scheduled to go in the 10th spot, but as you said, Larry, he has been excused because of the engine change. Now, Denny Hamlin is another guy who got his start at this racetrack and likes the place. And ever since he started here, I think things have worked out pretty well.
Made that first start back here in September of 2005, 179 career starts, and I think something we fail to talk a lot about, he has made the chase every single year of his 5 full seasons.
And, you know, I've heard him say, Larry, that I've learned something every year. I've tried to capitalize on what I've learned over those 5 years and apply that to this year, which he's doing a much better job in the chase than I think he's done in the past.
He's got 2 career wins on the 1.5-mile tracks, and they both come this season at Texas and Atlanta, part of his total of 6 wins this season.
Decent run.
5th quickest for Denny Hamlin at a 31.08.
We've had 15 drivers take time. Top 5 for Denny Hamlin as of right now, but a lot to come because we have chasers Jeff Burton and Jimmie Johnson still yet to qualify, and we'll be back with that in a moment.
The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Who will be the last man standing?
Performance. Upgrade to Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic Oil. With 8 times better wear protection than Mobil 1, Castrol Edge. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Stay once. Stay twice.
earn a free night. 2 separate stays at Comfort Inn or any of these Choice hotels can earn you a free night. Only when you book at choicehotels.com.
Taste Pops with Pringles cracker sticks. So delicious, your mouth will be strangely attracted to them. Everything pops with Pringles cracker sticks.
Regrouting my shower.
And?
Made a lot of trips.
3?
5.
Too many. Got what you need?
Do now.
Give it a full day before you use the shower.
Did not know that.
Do now.
I like feeding birds.
Got wild bird food, 3 for $9.99. Save over 50%.
Got lots of cleaning to do.
Got a push broom and angle broom bonus pack. Special purchase just $9.97. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
This conversation
never happened.
For the right tools, products, and advice, True Value. Start right. Start here.
Welcome to the show. Fiberglass Boomtown. Mecca for the V8 faithful. Pilgrims, diehards, gearheads, zealots. A multitude of fans bound together by a ribbon of asphalt. Celebrating as one the triumph of speed and the escape from everything routine. If you've never been, check your expectations at the gate. Everything else is just a game.
Welcome back to Kansas, everyone, for Sprint Cup Series qualifying for the Price Chopper 400. Chaser Jeff Burton is out on the racetrack right now. This is not a good qualifying track for Jeff. His average start in 9 Kansas races is 27th. But while we were away, Marcus Ambrose was able, Jeff, to get out on the racetrack and actually, after the engine change, pick up a little bit.
Yeah, he did. He actually picked up what he had practiced at earlier, JR, about almost 3/4 of a second. He's currently 14th, but Darrell and I were sitting there watching this 31 car, Jeff Burton, who winds up being 10th quickest, but hit car his right through the late part of turn 4. Back in really kind of got out from underneath him right there. Didn't see it jump, but it was not under him like he needed to.
So, poor qualifying, or not poor qualifying, but not good qualifying has been that team's Achilles heel last year, but this year they're much better. Not too good today.
Let's go to Wendy Venturini, who is standing by with the older of the 2 Busch brothers. Wendy?
I am, John. A 31.05 for Kurt Busch puts him 3rd right now. Kurt, it's a lot of work from practice earlier this morning, and listening to the radio communication is what you want. Is it what you wanted for qualifying?
Yeah, it was good. I thought we made improvements on our cars, the way it handled for me. We just ran the same exact lap time as practice qualifying. So yeah, we started off really tight right off the truck. We ended really loose in race trim. And so in qualifying, you know, we shot for the middle. We got it. A 31.0 is pretty quick. I was hoping for a 30 somewhere in there, like what Casey Kane ran. But good all-in-all lap for us after a tough Friday. But ultimately, it's the start of what we have for the next month or so with Operation Homefront on our car. And so we're carrying that banner for the next month. And it all culminates out in Texas with Operation Homefront. And that program helps military families in need. So a lot of fun.
Very good. Kurt Busch running with a cool paint scheme this weekend here in Kansas. John?
Very cool what his sponsor, Miller Lite, just did. They donated $100,000 to Operation Homefront.
Very nice, and a good qualifying effort for Kurt Busch. Currently 3rd out of the 18 cars that have gone. And when you talk about drivers whose future is up in the air and drivers who are racing for a reason right now, you definitely have to talk about Scott Speed.
Well, in Jay Fry, general manager at Red Bull Racing, said a few weeks ago that there's no question they will be evaluating Scott Speed's performance over the next few weeks, the next few races.
Now, our friend Bob Dillner knows fashion, and he knows it well, and he has picked out the most fashionable driver down on the grid right now to talk to. Bob?
I don't know about me knowing about fashion, but Elliott Sadler certainly knows a thing or two about this pink race car, pink shoes, pink fire suit. You're all about a good cause this weekend, aren't you?
You know, I am. It is my honor to drive this car this weekend. The last 3 years, Stanley has changed a paint scheme for one race a year in October because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they've raised over $250,000 for Susan G. Komen, and it means a lot to me and my family with my mom being a survivor and a fighter of breast cancer. So, beautiful car, pink car. We're gonna auction off a lot of items: the steering wheel, gloves, shoes, suit. I do have pink shoes on, by the way. And all of it goes towards a great cause. So I can't thank Stanley enough for letting us run this pink car, and want everybody to stand behind us this weekend. It's a great cause of Susan G. Komen.
The bottom line is, guys, real men wear pink.
Well, he'll be glad to know, and I'm sure he does because he's a student of the sport. Dale Earnhardt, back in the day, had a pink race car. It worked out just fine for him.
Takes a tough man to drive a pink race car, but especially for a good cause like that.
Well, I know orange right now is pretty good on this 20 car because Joey Logano just clocked in the second fastest lap. He becomes the second car to run sub 31 second flat at a 30.97, second quickest for the Home Depot car.
And that's also a good career pickup, though, for Joey Logano, as he qualified 28th and 18th in his past 2 races here. So that is way up the chart from where he's qualified in the past.
And just the way this team is coming on right now, the last 3 races at Richmond and at Dover last week, 2 top 5s out of these last 3 races.
Well, JR, we're getting ready to find out real quick what's going to happen this weekend with this number 48 car, and whether or not Chad Canales can work his magic one more time and get him up there, maybe on the front row or definitely on the pole for this weekend.
Darrell, we said it before. Maximum points is what this team is after. They did it in Dover. Now the question is, can they do it again?
Pole, lead the most laps, win the race. It's a very simple formula. And if you do that 10 times, you will be a 5-time champion. I don't know that he's going to get it done today, though.
And the biggest thing with that pole, he has 3 poles here, and you're right, it's not going to happen today, but you get that #1 pit selection, and there's no substitute for that almost any racetrack we go to.
And I don't, you talked about Tony Stewart not qualifying and running well. This team is a little bit that way itself. When they qualify back in the field, sometimes it doesn't work out so well for them.
So as of right now, Jimmy Johnson decided to go for a second lap. He's 10th fastest right now as we run. So he's going to try to stretch another one out. We haven't really seen good results on that.
No, and that car looked nervous to me right through the middle of the corner. It didn't look like it was gripping at all.
And he might be wanting to get some more information to give to Chad. You know, he might be able to go back to the garage now and say, you know, that car was tightening up as we went along or got worse as we went along.
Yeah, we've only seen 2 cars of the 20 that's qualified that did the second lap. McMurray and Jimmy Johnson, both of them lost at least a 1/10.5 from lap 1 to lap 2.
20 cars have taken time right now, and Jimmy Johnson finds himself mid-pack 10th fastest on the chart right now. When we come back, we have chaser Matt Kenseth as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. qualifying, and tickets are available for Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bring an empty bottle of Z-Max, and you can get $20 off your ticket. Find out more at charlottemotorspeedway.com or 455 Fans.
Truckers know towing nearly 10,000 pounds up a steep grade ain't good for your tranny. And when the heat's on, failure ain't an option. This truck's got a 6-speed aluminum tranny and a big old dedicated fluid cooler. So when it's cooking on the outside, this truck won't break a sweat. Holy smoke. Available in the full-size Tundra. The truck that's changing it all.
Our breakout session is going to be great. Got the Gecko t-shirt, 4 million drivers switched. Gecko water bottle, notebook, chamois.
Sir, I feel a little bit uncomfortable with all this. I mean, it's not about me. It should be about how Geico's the 3rd largest car insurance company in the nation. Things like that.
Oh, of course. We're not going to get carried away.
Yeah, all right. As long as we don't overdo it.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to Price Chopper 400 qualifying, everyone, for race number 3 in the 2010 Chase for the Sprint Cup. On track right now, working hard with the wheel is Reed Sorensen in the 83. While we were gone, David Rudiman put his 00 Toyota in the 8th spot on the chart as of right now. But there we see Reed Sorensen doing battle with the 83 and the racetrack here at Kansas.
Well, the good news is the 2 Red Bull cars are pretty much spot on. There's only 4 1/1000ths of a second in their qualifying laps. The bad news is 18th and 19th of the 22 cars.
They're going to have to put an oil cooler on the steering box if he keeps jacking on it like that. He would work in that
He's
thing.
in there fighting bees when he DW.
Swatting flies.
Bob Dillner is standing by with a 2-time race winner here at Kansas and also a 4-time champion in Jeff Gordon. Bob?
And I've been watching Jeff Gordon. He's got one of those Sprint fan views in his hand. What are you watching there?
Well, this thing's really cool. Live video, timing and scoring. So, you know, I love you guys at speed, but sometimes you miss a few things that are going on live here. So this pretty much, you know, gives me a live what's happening on each car. And so, you know, I'm just looking at lines. And right now this track is really strange. I think it's throwing everybody off because the grip doesn't, you know, we normally see everybody pick up from practice to qualifying, and guys aren't picking up. They're talking about how slick the track is, and you know, we're all out here scratching our heads trying to figure out what to do.
So did you learn anything by watching that, or did you mess yourself up?
Well, I still haven't seen the 9 cars lap. I didn't have this on at the time, so I saw the 20. He looks about the best that I've seen go, you know, and he's sitting up there second on the board and ran a line similar to what I'd like to run. So I don't know. Steve and I have been talking, and we're still undecided. I'm just going to base it off of how the car goes through 1 and 2. If the DuPont Chevrolet gets through 1 and 2 really good, then I'll make some decisions down the backstretch what I'm going to do in 3 and 4.
Well, see, Jeff, if you were watching Speed, you would have seen that 9 car. To Wendy.
Touche. Okay, I'm with Joey Logano. Second guy to run the 30s, the 3097 to be exact. Joey, how slick was that racetrack to you in your mind?
It felt kind of about the same as what we had in practice, actually. Maybe a little bit slicker, but the guys did a good job fixing up the Home Depot Toyota for me and getting a little bit more speed out of it than what we had in practice. So I'm happy with that, especially lately, the way I've been qualifying. I'm definitely going to take a solid qualifying spot here. The bummer is I know where that half a tenth is, I think, and oh well. You know, I feel like I left a little bit out there, but either way, it's still a good lap for us.
And looking at his qualifying efforts of his other 2 times at Kansas, his best has been 18th. Looks like he'll probably do better than that, John.
Wendy, thanks a lot. There's that pink race car for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, driven by Elliott Sadler on the track right now. But just a moment ago, we saw Mark Martin. He put the 5 car in the 16th spot, and that's probably not too shabby considering he didn't have any practice time.
But, JR, when you show up at the racetrack every week, the fastest lap these guys normally run is the first lap on the racetrack. So he knows his car, has all the confidence in his crew. He's going to go out there and stand on it just like nothing ever happened.
Elliott Sadler finished 4th here at Kansas back in September of '05, and his best start of 2010 so far is 8th at Atlanta, and right now that's the position he's in.
Well, the thing is right now, he picked up about 2/10 of a second over what he practiced at earlier. Good effort right there by the number 19 in that pink race car. 8th quickest so far for Elliott.
And, you know, thinking back to Jimmy Johnson real quick, he was the first Hendrick car out. So he didn't have a lot of information from any teammates about what the track's like, what adjustments he might want to make. So that should help Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon now that the 48 car is gone. He can probably pass along a little information to him.
3rd Hendrick car to go out after Mark Martin, the 88 of Dale Jr. Looks like he's working hard on that steering wheel as well.
He is. He got a handful.
Now, he was 20th quickest in practice. Dale has a pole here at Kansas back in 2002, our 2nd trip here at Kansas Speedway.
And Junior drives kind of old school, like where you really do want to crank the wheel. Like you got to turn it way on around, get that right hand way over there on the left side of the steering wheel. A lot of these guys today don't drive that way. They got little steering wheels. They drive like they're on a computer. Junior, he's just a little bit different. He's kind of like I'd be. He's cranking on that thing.
And he is hugging that white line. You heard his teammate Jeff Gordon talking about the different lines that drivers are running. He pretty much has been right around the bottom both ends of this racetrack.
He lost a lot of speed, though, coming back to the start-finish line.
They just can't get this car qualified up front. I mean, you know, every week it's back in the 20s and sometime even in the 30s.
Yeah, last week at Dover qualified 32nd, and it's just hard to overcome that, even in a 400 or 500 mile race.
That's a deep hole when you start the race.
Currently, Dale Jr. is 12th on the speed chart. Let's go to Bob, who's standing by with the Biff.
Walking along with Greg Biffle, who's dynamite here at Kansas. The past 3 races, top 3 finishes. Well, you seem pretty serious. This is a big weekend for you, isn't it?
It is a big weekend. You know, we want to get a good qualifying run. I've been paying attention to what these guys are doing, and we got to get back on track. You know, it's we've had a rough couple of weeks, but a win here would definitely propel us up in there in the points and keep us in this hunt.
15th quick in this practice session this morning for the Biff. And by the way, guys, I told Gordon to watch the end of the show so you can see the replay of the 9 car.
Or the re-air later on tonight.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
Bob, what Jeff doesn't know is we see everything, but it's not fair to tell everybody else. So we have to hold some of it back. We can't tell them everything we see.
Keep them guessing.
That's right.
Matt Kenseth is a former pole sitter here at the Kansas Speedway. Let's see what he can do in this effort.
And you could see he was up about a half a lane from where Dale Earnhardt Jr. just went through that same corner. And it's going to be a good lap for Matt. 4th quickest in the 17 car.
It kind of looks like to me that in turn 3 and 4 particularly, middle of the track's pretty fast. And I think it's helping the exit of the corner. You're not pinched down so much and you're not losing that, getting all that wheel in it coming off, killing your speed.
Such a different result for Matt Kenseth right now, currently 4th on the chart. But when we look back at the first 2 chase races for Matt Kenseth and the 17 team, they have started the weekend off behind the 8 ball.
Yes,
well,
they have.
They've made some nice adjustments to that team.
And they're 165 points out. What's significant about that? That's more than 1 race behind the points leader, Denny Hamlin.
So the next driver on the racetrack will be A.J. Allmendinger, and A.J. will join J.J. and the rest of the crew tonight on trackside. Jimmy Johnson stops by for the biggest party in racing. Don't miss NASCAR trackside from Kansas tonight at 7 Eastern, only on Speed. When we come back to qualifying, it's Jeff Gordon and Greg Biffle. We're staying here. We're not going anywhere.
We're going to watch A.J. Allmendinger.
I don't want to go anywhere.
Okay.
I want to stay here with you guys.
You got to quit listening to that guy in the truck. He'll get you in trouble.
Is that the voices in my head?
It's your voices in your head.
Oh, there's so many of them up there. A.J. Allmendinger is one driver certainly showing so much potential over the past couple of years. He just seems to get better and better, and probably one of the future first-time winners we're going to be talking about.
He's not going to be happy about this little effort right here. That car has been nervous since it took a sit down in turn 1, and he's not gotten any faster.
Well, he's going to be close to the slowest car of our 27 cars, 26 quickest at a 31.73. And you look back, he ran a 31.17.
I was going to say, and Darrell, you know yourself, when the car gets feeling like that right at the very get-go, it just kills your momentum, kills your attitude as far as a driver. You just can't go.
So many times I've heard this in my career and then doing TV. A guy has one good race. He'll have a good race somewhere. It's, oh, man, they've turned the corner. They're going to be great. I mean, they're going to win races. You got to do that every week.
Every week.
You can't just do it once in a while.
But he's going to recover nicely because of what happened on lap 1. He certainly will be the first driver to pick up a fair amount on lap 2. And, JR, I think maybe now you can take us to break.
Let's go now.
Do you have anything? Do you have anything to say?
No, I really don't. A.J. Allmendinger now 20th on the speed chart. Casey Kane leads the way.
We're for weekend projects that start out in your garage, but end up being seen by just about everybody. We're for people who know their stuff and stick with it when things don't go as expected. We're for a toolbox that contains every tool imaginable and guys who can use them all. We're for Joey Logano and that number 20 team. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
At TireRack.com, we stock the largest selection of tires anywhere. But we don't just ship them off to your house after you buy them. We can deliver them to one of over 5,000 of our independent recommended local installers. Because the best tires in the world can't help you if they're not properly installed on your vehicle.
Right now, get up to a $50 mail-in rebate when you buy a set of 4 eligible winter tires. For details, go to TireRack.com/TV. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Opulence. I has it. I like the best. This one. But I also like savings the money. So when DirecTV tell me 5 months free for most premium televisions package, I jump in it.
Forget cable. Switch and get 5 months free. Ends October 6. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
Speed's coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying from Kansas is brought to you by the AARP Home and Auto Insurance Programs from the Hartford. By Mothers, there's no shine like Mothers. And by Sprint, proud sponsor of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. If you're going to win a championship in the Sprint Cup Series, you have to have a whole weekend effort, and it starts with practice and qualifying. 2-time winner on this racetrack and 4-time champion Jeff Gordon is out on the track as we speak right now, and he is looking to perhaps knock Casey Kane off the top of the chart.
He got out of it early, just like we saw some other guys do, like Casey Kane did, and got a nice set there and getting into 3. I don't know if he had enough speed off of turn 4 to get the pole, but it's going to be a good run.
Yeah, he'll go to second quickest at a 30.95.
Good pickup.
We need to mention while we were away, Martin Truex Jr. in that 56 car qualified 18th at a 31.22.
So right now, after 1 lap, Jeff Gordon has shut it down, and he finds himself second on the chart, a little bit better than 174.4 miles per hour. Great run for the 4-time champ.
Darrell, right quick, we go back and we've had a couple drivers like A.J. Allmendinger and Jimmy Johnson tried to run 2 laps. As a driver, do you want to be told, hey, you need to go play 2, or do you know when you come across through there that the car wasn't quite right, maybe I can get more out of the second lap?
I've never had them get better. Not very often. I mean, maybe if you screw up.
Yeah,
but,
like
you know,
A.J.
Yeah, like he did. Okay, I need to recover here and make another lap and try to help myself. But if the car felt pretty good, but wasn't driving all that great and it's moving around more than I wanted to. Why am I going to gain by going another lap?
So what I'm saying is it's your call, not the crew chief telling you to go for 2. I mean, I know sometimes in the go or go homers, we hear the crew chief getting involved. But here we don't hear a lot of chatter from the crew chief. It's all the driver.
No, they leave it. It's driver discretion there. You know, if you feel like you could pick up a little bit, go ahead. But you're taped up solid. Tires are pumped for 1 lap. You're probably not going to gain anything.
The history books say that back in 2007, Greg Biffle won at this racetrack, but when you remember back to that race, it was a very odd circumstance. We had the rain come through, then it got all kinds of sunny, then it got dark, and when they called the race, there was a debate as to whether or not Greg Biffle kept up the right amount of speed and whether he really won that race, but the history books say he did.
And then the history books will also say he's finished 3rd here the last 2 races.
There's a key word in that you have to maintain a reasonable speed. And then
I believe that's where reasonable speed came from.
In the judgment of the officials, that was a reasonable speed. He didn't stop, so he won the race.
And I think what was deceiving is the 33 car and the 48 car probably sped up a little bit, and it really made Greg Biffle's speed look slow.
Yeah.
So 4th fastest for the Biff. He's got the 16th car right there. Let's go down now to Wendy Venturini, who is standing by with a 2nd place qualifier as of right now, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, 30.95 for Jeff Gordon puts him 2nd right now. Jeff, how much did the track change? You were trying to watch qualifying and assess that racetrack. How did you feel it moved around for you?
Well, we made quite a few adjustments on the DuPont Chevrolet from practice, so I mean, I really didn't feel like the track was that much different from what we ran. I drew a late number, so that certainly helps, but we struggled a lot in practice with getting the car through 3 and 4. I changed some things on my line, but I'm just so proud of Steve and all the guys on this DuPont Chevy for the adjustments and the day we've had and the way we've been qualifying lately. We just have not been qualifying good, and it's something we've put a lot of effort in. And today, finally, things went our way, and man, that's like a pole to me right now.
All right, well, you can see the smiles on Jeff Gordon's face as we have Kevin Harvick coming up next, and also Ryan Newman that everyone down here is going to look for.
Do you want to see some smiles?
Yes, sir. Oh, Menard in that 98 car. How about that? 30.95.1, 2nd quickest.
Hey, Wendy, tell Jeff on our double throwdown secret tracker he lost it going into turn 3.
We'll be back in a minute with more qualifying.
Hi there, welcome.
David Glengarry. Now, this Mini has a 5-star safety rating and 6 airbags, only got 4 people. Let's lose 2 airbags, 1 star, and take $2 grand off the price. You man enough for that deal?
Sir, we can't remove it.
Figured. What about this 3-year, 36,000-mile, no-cost maintenance? Ditch that. Girls memorize the owner's manual. They do the upkeep. You drop $1 grand. Who's got a pen?
Dad.
Fine. At 37 MPG, we'll take one that only gets 27. I pay 19.5. Let's take this horse to market.
Deal. And I'll throw in 37 MPG.
Now for a limited time, lease a 2010 Mini Cooper hardtop for $199 a month. No haggling required.
Regrouting my shower.
And?
Made a lot of trips.
3?
5.
Too many. Got what you need?
Do now.
Give it a full day before you use the shower.
Did not know that.
Do now.
I like feeding birds.
Got wild bird food, 3 for $9.99. Save over 50%.
Got lots of cleaning to do.
Got a push broom and angle broom bonus pack. Special purchase just $9.97. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
This conversation
never happened.
For the right tools, products, and advice, True Value. Start right. Start here.
I know you love this car. A lot of memories. I'm glad you're all right.
At the Hartford, we hear from our AARP auto insurance customers all the time. But not just about savings and benefits for drivers 50 and over. Usually, they just want to thank us for making a difficult time a little less difficult.
It's perfect. Where'd you find it? I was just driving up here. There's
The AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford.
Arctic Cat is loaded with camo machines for your hunt. From ATVs to the all-new Prowler HDX, featuring power steering, 3-person capacity, and a convertible flatbed. So come in now and get a great deal at the Gone Wheelin' Sales event. Arctic Cat, share our passion.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sprint Cup Series qualifying from the Kansas Speedway. While we were away, the number 78, driven by Regan Smith, qualified in the 11th spot. Now, we always call Ryan Newman the Rocket Man or Mr. Friday because of his qualifying prowess, but his best qualifying in 9 Kansas starts is 3rd, and that came back in 2002.
It's going to be a good lap. 6th quickest, 31 flat, but he was 2nd quickest in practice earlier. And he's still, that's going to be about a 10th.5 loss from what he ran in practice.
And prior to that, guys, I've been watching the speeds that come back. Look like maybe the racetrack was starting to cool down because the previous qualifiers, all 5 of them, including Regan Smith, had run faster than they had in practice.
We're only a couple cars away from the knockout qualifying session for the go or go home cars, and Bob is standing by with one of those drivers who must qualify his way into the race. Bob?
And among those drivers, Casey Mears was 2nd quick this morning, and I just shared a little information with you about what Jeff Gordon said. With the track really not changing, is that a good thing or a bad thing for you?
I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's definitely good to know the conditions are pretty similar. Hopefully the adjustments that they made helped us out a little bit. We were a little bit free in qualifying trim, and it looked like if we picked up a 10th.5 or so, we'd be right where we wanted to be. So we tightened the Geico Toyota up a little bit, and hopefully we'll go out and have a good run.
Most importantly, guys, he tells me things are starting to really click down here with this 13 team.
Well, he's got Booty Barker on the pit box for him, and that always bodes well, it seems, for a lot of drivers. And it seems like those guys are getting along together very well. The last of your chasers to qualify is Kevin Harvick.
You know, Kevin Harvick said before the chase, remember, he led the points for 16 races in those first 26 races. And when they asked him after Richmond, what did they need to work on for the chase, he said, we need to work on our qualifying. And they still are weak on the qualifying side of things.
And he had his hands full.
Yeah, it just seems like it's almost the history of the Childress guys. I mean, you take the 31, what does he need to work on? Qualifying. 29, what does he need to... Boyer, on the other hand, has been a pretty good little qualifier.
So for Kevin Harvick, his average start is 20th, average finish is 10th in 2010. Back with knockout qualifying when we come back.
Sunday, NASCAR Race Day thunders into Kansas. Mark Martin joins us live. Plus, Jimmy Johnson talks about his dominant performance in Dover. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, live from Kansas Sunday at 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
When I brush, I like to do a really mediocre job.
I love running my tongue across my teeth and feeling all the stuff I missed.
No one really wants plaque left on their teeth.
Done.
But ordinary manual brushes can leave up to 50% of plaque behind. Oral-B Power Brushes are inspired by the tools professionals use to clean away plaque in ways a manual brush can't. For that dentist smooth clean feeling every day. Fight plaque with real power. Oral-B Power. Get 50% off Oral-B Power Brushes for a limited time. Visit oralb.com for details.
I'm Montel Williams.
Where can you see hundreds of RVs all in one place at only one event? The RV Closeout Sale. Prices are slashed on motorhomes, travel trailers, and toy haulers, but only for a limited time. RV Closeout Sale is in the Stone Ridge Mall parking lot just off Highway 580 and 680 in Pleasanton, October 1st through the 10th. Go to RVShowBayArea.com for directions. Acres of new and used RVs at unbeatable prices. Make an offer and drive home with the RV of your dreams. At the RV Closeout Sale, the customer always comes first.
Chicken Monster tickets just went on sale.
Dad, you have to get the tickets now.
I'm trying. I'm waiting on this AT&T DSL.
Sounds like slow DSL.
Oh, no.
Sold out. You promised. With Xfinity from Comcast, you get the fastest fast speeds. That's how I got these tickets. I got your back, girls. Got your back.
Don't settle for less with AT&T. Go faster with Xfinity Internet for just $19.99 a month for 6 months.
I want to go. You're too slow, Dad. Just like your DSL.
Well, the last of our top 35 cars in the commercial break, the 7 driven by Kevin Conway, qualified 34th on the chart. Now we're into the go or go home cars, and the first one is Joe Nemechek.
There is no more tension and there's no more nerves than these guys right here have to put up with every week. Trying to get a car into the race on this qualifying deal is just nerve-wracking, man.
So one driver who has no more nerves after a great qualifying run is Paul Menard, and he's standing by with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Thanks, John. And as we get to these go or go homes, Paul Menard, it looks like a pretty good chance you could be on the outside front row. How good does that feel?
It'd be good. You know, we just did qualifying runs today in practice, and really weren't all that great when we fired off, did our first run, but you know, the guys worked hard and did a few adjustments, and basically how we ended, that's how we just qualified. Did a little bit of air pressure stuff, and actually thought it was going to be a little bit better lap based off my RPM coming off the corner, but outside front row right now, and hopefully it stays there. It'll be good for Sunday.
All right, good luck to Paul Menard. This could be his best qualifying effort at Kansas to date.
And guys, right quick, I just want to interject one thing. This would be something we haven't seen a lot this year in 2010. 2 Fords on the front row.
Looking good right now as Casey Kane and Paul Menard occupy those spots. We are down in the go or go homers right now, and Joe Nemechek finds himself 33rd on the speed chart right now out of the 36 drivers who have qualified.
And he did, as we anticipated that a lot of these go or go homers will do. He did run that second lap, but he slowed down roughly 4/10 on lap 2.
Yeah, you're just burning fuel really on that second lap.
Here's Bobby Labonte.
And he was the fastest of the go or go homers in practice earlier. He ran a 31:19 and that 09 Phoenix Racing Chevrolet.
And we will be sending 3 cars home. We have 2 past champions here, Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott. Bobby obviously being eligible for it first, being the most recent champion, but based on what he did in practice, you would think shouldn't have to use that past championship provision.
And same situation with Bill Elliott as well. He was very fast in practice, but he didn't spend too much time out on the racetrack.
That car really got off turn 2, and as you see, that speed just continues to carry all the way down that back straightaway.
If you can get off these corners without having to put a lot of wheel in the thing, but see, you lost some off of turn 4 there. You just get that those front tires slipping a little bit, and it really knocks the speed out of the car.
Tell you what, that's still a heck of a qualifying lap for Bobby Labonte. He is 16th overall at a 31:15.
That's a good little race team. Yeah. I mean, for what they got and what they do, they really get a lot out of their equipment.
But the main thing is he picked up over what he practiced at, so you got to believe he should be the benchmark for the go or go homers. He was the fastest again in the practice sessions earlier today. He should be solidly locked in the field.
And I love it when James Finch does good. Man, it's one of the most fun interviews you can have when Finch is on the radio or on television, you know, doing an interview. He'll tell it like it is, brother.
Especially after they won in Talladega with Keselowski.
He's doing it for one thing and one thing only, to have fun.
Yeah, F-U-N.
And that was a pretty fun run for Bobby Labonte there as he ends up 16th out of the 37 cars that have gone. And now we turn our attention to Landon Castle in the 64.
And I tell you what, this little kid, he's driven the 71 car, he's driven the 09 car, he's in the 64 car. He tends to be able to find a little bit of something for qualifying no matter what car he happens to be in.
He's tempted to make his first Cup start here.
Yeah. Just a little slipping and sliding right there in the middle of that corner.
Right there.
He's driven in 8 Cup races in 2010. He has a best start of 15th at Michigan the second time we went there.
That little dip he did down here in the middle of 1 and 2, Jeff, really took a lot.
It really did. It killed it. It killed that first lap.
And he will be faster than Joe Nemechek. His lap time, a 31.398, puts him 33rd.
38 of our 46 cars have taken time so far. We're down in the knockout qualifying in the go or go home cars. Landon Castle in the 64, the most recent to run. Bobby Labonte is the fastest of those cars. The 09 qualified 16th. And now we are going to see Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Bill Elliott, who was fast in practice.
Just when you look at that 64 car, most of these guys that are go or go homers tell me, if you see something on my quarter panel, I'm racing. If you see my quarter panel blank, I'm not racing. I'm parking.
Interesting, in this car is well stickered up. There's some on the quarter panel for
and you can
Bill
bet
Elliott.
Bill Elliott will not be a starting park. Where in the world do we come up with these terms anyway? Starting park. You know, I mean, back not too long ago, they were field fillers.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Field fillers, and now they're starting parks.
Now,
and
go or go home.
You know.
Well, who was it earlier today? Justin Allgaier wrote the new word rollability.
Rollability?
So here in NASCAR, we like to create new terms.
I totally understand that. If the thing wasn't rolling through the center of the corner, and he just kind of
want to hear
to another level.
Lap rollability.
Yeah.
Want to hear some new words? Tune into Race Day on Sunday morning, and Kenny Wallace will tell you all kind of new words. I promise you.
Yeah, but those are the ones that we cannot put on the air. That's the problem.
Well, right now, you're going to be able to put this lap on the air because it looks like Bill Elliott's going to qualify 11th in that number 21 car.
And I feel safely that they should probably back it down there, 31.07. We know that'll race.
You know why Bill has stepped it up a notch, don't you? Because of his son, Chase. Chase is putting pressure on the old man.
Won the race up at Wilkesboro a few weeks ago.
You don't want your daddy out racing you. The 1988 Cup Series champion, Bill Elliott, will not need a champion's provisional because he qualified 11th overall. He's got the 21 on top of the speed chart for the go or go home cars. Sunday, NASCAR Race Day storms into Kansas. Mark Martin joins us live. Jimmy Johnson talks about his domination in Dover. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, live from Kansas, and new words from Kenny Wallace.
At TireRack.com, we don't just sell tires, we test them on our unique test track. Our results are honest, unbiased, and as real as it gets. Use this information to help decide which tires are right for you, your vehicle, how you drive it, and where you drive it. It's not just a test track, it's truth serum for tires.
Right now, get up to a $50 mail-in rebate when you buy a set of 4 eligible winter tires. For details, go to TireRack.com/TV. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Regrouting my shower.
And?
Made a lot of trips.
3?
5.
Too many. Got what you need?
Do now.
Give it a full day before you use the shower.
Did not know that.
Do now.
I like feeding birds.
Got wild bird food 3 for $9.99. Save over 50%.
Got lots of cleaning to do.
Got a push broom and angle broom bonus pack. Special purchase just $9.97. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
This conversation
Never happened.
For the right tools, products, and advice, True Value. Start right. Start here.
If you live for performance, upgrade to Castrol Edge Advanced Synthetic Oil. With 8 times better wear protection than Mobil 1, Castrol Edge, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
If you were going to create the ideal NASCAR driver, how would you begin? How old would they be? How tall?
What color would you make their eyes, their hair, their skin? Would English be their first language? O su segundo?
How long would their hair be?
The definition of ideal has never been more wide open. The NASCAR Drive for Diversity ensures the only barrier drivers have to cross is the finish line.
Speed's presentation of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying from Kansas is presented by Subway Restaurants. So many $5 footlong subs to choose from. Enjoy amazing value at Subway all day, every day. Brought to you in part by Little Debbie Snacks. When you share the fresh tasting goodness of a Little Debbie snack, you share a smile. And by Pep Boys. Pep Boys does everything for less. Call 1-800-PEP-BOYS. Here at Kansas, among the go-or-go-home cars, the number 21 of Bill Elliott, 09 of Bobby Labonte, they are locked in the field. And now the 66 car, driven by Jason Left Turn Leffler, some of the best hair in auto racing, and now he's going to try to put this car in the show.
And JR,
go ahead.
Just going to say real quick, Daryl, he was the guy who sat on the pole here for the inaugural race at Kansas back in 2001.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of time in 1 and 2. Car looked like right in the middle of the corner, just shot up the racetrack a little bit with him.
And he was the slowest of the go-or-go-homers earlier today.
So right now, Leffler is 9th in the Nationwide Series standings. Got 1 start in the Cup so far this season. That was in Richmond.
Now, Darrell, we've been talking about the lines down in 3 and 4. On the first lap, he was hugging that white line. Second lap, which we know will probably be to no avail, he was up about a lane.
Yeah, I think he was just looking for some speed, and he knew that first one wasn't good, so try something different.
So right now, he finds himself the slowest of the go-or-go-home cars, but not the slowest of all the cars that have qualified so far. That title belongs to the number 41 position of the 71 car. And next up on the chart.
But that will lock Landon Castle as well as Bill Elliott and Bobby Labonte into the show for Sunday.
So we have 3 in. The 26 of Patrick Carpentier is coming up next.
JR, I'm going to digress about the fact that we'll take a look here at the 66, and this is what Darrell was talking about on that first lap. If you watch the car as it goes in the corner right there, where it winds up, it's not what you want to see here as far as having a good lap.
There's Patrick Carpentier in the 26 trying to make this show for that team.
Yeah, this team has missed a couple of races recently with Jeff Green. Patrick Carpentier has been driving at some of the bigger racetracks of late for this 26 team. Bill Jenkins and the boys.
What did Elliott call him when he was his teammate? Pat.
Pat.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to handle that.
Just Pat.
One of the funnest guys to talk to down in the garage area, though. He's always having a great time, always has a smile on his face. Has 1 start at Kansas when he started 19th, ended up finishing 29th. And did not too long ago sit on the pole up there at Loudon.
But I tell you what, he will race because he just beat Casey Mears by a mere 2 100ths, and that's fast enough to lock himself into the show, so he will race.
Out of our 42 qualifiers, right now Patrick Carpentier finds himself 35th on the chart. Not too bad. And the great thing about that is his name is in green on the monitor.
It is good to go. The cars we are watching right now is Casey Mears, Joe Nemechek, and Jason Leffler. That's our go-or-go-homers that are not locked in yet with 4 cars to go.
I'm going to say they're running out of help.
46 cars came out here to qualify today. That means 3 are going to go home from this once all is said and done. Right now, Bobby Labonte and Bill Elliott, Patrick Carpentier, and the 64 car are locked in.
You know what, Larry? You got to be impressed with what Patrick's been able to do. When he jumps in his 26 car, he comes to places like Michigan, here at Kansas City, and he's able to get up on the wheel and limited experience in a stock car and lay down some very impressive laps when the pressure's on. We saw him doing that when he was driving for Ray Everdeen.
Yeah, well, he's another one of those guys I think that he knows if he doesn't lay down a good lap, he's not going to race.
Right.
And so you go out there and you're just willing to lay it all on the line and see what you can come up with, and he's been able to get the car to the field. That's it.
Speaking of a line, what you want to be in this qualifying, you want to be to the left of the green stripe, because that means you are in the area that will lock you into the race on Sunday, and it looks like Michael McDowell will lock into this show.
As you like to say, Larry, that helps you control your destiny.
Yes, sir.
If Michael McDowell does lock himself in, this will be his first Kansas start in the Cup Series. Has one NASCAR Nationwide Series race here, and he started 38th in New Hampshire. That was his second race in that number 46
JR, I was
car.
getting ready to holler. I said, crew chief, where you at? You're locked in. He now qualifies. He's 29th quickest. Main thing, he is locked into the race on Sunday.
You know, I talked to Tony Furr, the crew chief on this car earlier, and when this car started racing back in the early spring with J.J. Yaley, they were qualifying for shows about every week, and then they started missing some shows, and Tony Furr got with the owner, Dusty Whitney, and said, look, we're staying the same, and everybody else is catching up. They went and bought this car from Richard Childress Racing, made a little update with their engine program, and now they're back qualifying for races.
Probably the most impressive thing I saw that team do was at New Hampshire when they crashed that car in practice. Got a Dodge out that they hadn't raced in forever, I don't think.
No laps.
No laps. And McDowell got in the show. That was pretty impressive.
The Buckeye Bullet, Dave Blaney, behind the wheel of the number 38 car this weekend, and 17th is his best start in 8 attempts at Kansas. It's back in 2006.
Dave, earlier in practice, was 4th quickest of the go-or-go-home cars, but right now he is not to the left of that green stripe.
He lost some speed off right there on late exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Well, he's not going to gain it back either, because the car looks like it must be a little snug with him. Can't get up off a corner without really slowing the car down.
That lap right there, I don't think is going to do it. He'll have to go ahead and run this second lap. I mean, you have to go down swinging at least.
Yep.
This car, it's just tight with him, Larry. It's bogging down, getting up off the corner, really hurting his lap time.
Now that lap, though, regardless, will send Jason Leffler in the 66 car to the house. Looks like this lap here is probably going to end up locking Casey Mears in that 13 car into the show.
Yep.
So Blaney, he's on the bubble right now. We're watching Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek, and that will pay close attention pretty much to J.J. Yaley and Mike Bliss, the last 2 cars to go.
Only 2 cars left in this session so far. 46 have came out. 3 have to go home. Right now, Casey Kane, Paul Menard still occupy row number 1. But the decision we have to find out here is who gets to race and who has to go home. .38 car sometime this year has been driven by David Gillen. It's been with Front Row Motorsports. The numbers switch all over the place depending on the situation for each given race.
Well, what has happened ever since this 38 car received the penalty for the valve cap bleeders at Pocono back in June, it knocked them out of the top 35s. So Front Row Motorsports, they've had 2 cars in the top 35 and 1 outside, and they just can't seem to get it up in the top 35.
Here's J.J. Yaley, second to last of our 46 cars to go out, and he finds himself right now on the good side for a little while, but now back on the bad side again.
He's flirting with it, though. He's right there where if he has a good 3, getting into 3 here, let's see how he does. Ease it in there, get her down. Yeah, that looked pretty good.
If he didn't overdrive the corner, though, Darrell, if he can get off the corner, I think he's, that's right there on top of it.
He got in there just right, but he got off a little weak.
Good enough.
He's in at a 31.50, and that will send Joe Nemechek at a 31.53 to to the house. It's going to be oh so close, because right now Dave Blaney is on the bubble at a 31.530. Joe Nemechek is out at a 31.532.
2 1,000ths of a second.
One more car to go, one last shot, and this one is going to be driven by Mike Bliss. He's won here at this racetrack before, but it was in the Camping World Truck Series back in 2002, and he's started 6 races in the Nationwide Series at this track as well. And here we see Mike Bliss, one more chance to get in the field.
Hundreds and thousands of seconds send you home, just like hundreds and thousands of inches will get you a penalty.
Exactly.
And you know, that's what I said about that infraction. You know, if it indeed was 60 thousandths outside the tolerance of 100 thousandths, am I bold enough to say that made a difference? Probably not. But also in the day and time of teams looking for hundredths and thousandths of a second, who am I to say that it didn't make a difference?
Let me put it in perspective for you, Larry. Go to Daytona, Talladega. If you raise the rear spoiler 3/16 of an inch, how much does that slow you down? Because it adds downforce to the car. There you'd want to lower it 3/16.
Exactly.
But that's what 3/16 of an inch will do. It'll put downforce in the car a little bit more anyway.
Right now, you talk about something to do for Mike Bliss. That first lap is not going to be enough to get him in the show. 31.661. He's got to find about a 1/10 and a half if he wants to race on Sunday.
Unless he finds it, just as we spoke a while ago, the difference between making this show and going all the way back home to the Charlotte, North Carolina area, 2 1,000ths of a second.
Not going to do it.
It is not going to happen for Mike Bliss, so he is going to the house, but Casey Kane is your pole winner here with 3 poles this season. Got one at Infineon and one at the second Michigan race as well. It's his 19th career Cup pole, so congratulations to Casey Kane. The field is now set for Sunday's race, the 3rd in the chase for the 2010 Sprint Cup. So Paul Menard will join Casey Kane on row number 1. 4 career starts here, and this will be his best start. 9.98 will lead us to the green. 2 Fords. We'll be back to Kansas in a moment.
Tonight, 4-time defending Cup champion Jimmy Johnson joins the biggest party in NASCAR.
You know, it's all that I know. It's all that I want to do is drive a race car.
Don't miss NASCAR Trackside from Kansas tonight at 7 Eastern.
Only on Speed.
Do you want the smaller half-ton axle? Or ours? Who's your daddy? Available on the full-size Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Crankshafts on many half-ton V8s are cast iron. Ours is forged steel. End of story. Available on the full-size Tundra, the truck that's changing it all.
We now offer phone service.
Is your internet fast?
Or just fast enough?
If your internet was faster,
could you get more done?
Could more speed lead to more business? We thought our internet was fast.
we've just gotten used to slow.
DSL is outdated technology.
It's archaic.
It's a relic.
We had a growing business.
Our internet needed to catch up, so we switched.
We switched.
We switched to Comcast Business Class. Faster than DSL.
Faster than T1.
Super fast internet.
Period.
It's time to get fast internet from Comcast. Call 1-800-391-3000.
Hey, don't you want to know who's calling?
This is the best part.
With Xfinity, you get caller ID right on your TV. Plus, service rated #1 in call clarity.
Whoa, I should get rid of AT&T.
I got your back, Raj.
Shaq's got your back. Don't settle for less with AT&T. Get Xfinity Digital Voice for just $19.99 a month for 12 months.
Dude, get the door.
You're closer.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what is happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Casey Kane has his 19th career Cup pole, 3 this season. And when Casey Kane starts on the pole, good things happen. He's won 5 of his 11 races from the pole. And it is also a history-making day for RPM, Richard Petty Motorsports as well. Their first front row sweep. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. Let's now go down to Bob Dillner, who is standing by with our pole sitter. Bob?
Well, JR, Casey Kane knew he had a good race car in practice, but did you know it was this good enough for the pole?
Well, I knew it was pretty decent. We have a really nice car here.
The guys worked on it. Kenny and Keith went together, and we needed a few adjustments for qualifying there, and they did it perfect. I ran really quick through 1 and 2 and not as quick in 3 and 4, and Paul Menard was right there coming off 4. He gained a lot, but it was still a great lap for our whole Budweiser Ford team. Stanley Tools, Valvoline, Best Buy, all the guys that support us. I'm glad we were able to win another pole. It's been a little while.
Johnny Roberts just mentioned that 5 of your 11 wins have come from the pole. How important is starting up front here at Kansas?
Well, I think it's pretty important. Track position here, I think, will be a big deal throughout the race on Sunday. The track's slippery with this tire combination. I was sliding around a bunch at the beginning of practice, and then again there in qualifying. But hopefully we'll get a good balance tomorrow. Practice means everything for the race on Sunday, and hopefully we get a good balance and we can work on it from there. That's the hard part. If you missed a little bit, so you can't really work on your car. That's just what you have, and hopefully we can work on it and be strong.
I know you want to get in victory lane here on Sunday, but your eye is also on your sprint team over there at Williams Grove, especially with Joey Saldana coming back this week. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for those guys. They have the National Open this weekend, and we're running Brad Sweet, Paul McMahon, and Joey there. Joey's back. He healed up quick, and looking forward to watching that tonight and seeing how things go for him.
Joey Saldana injured a couple weeks ago for Casey Kane, but he is back, and that's a good thing after that horrific wreck.
Bob, thanks and congratulations to Casey Kane. Let's now take a look at where everybody will start when the green flag waves on Sunday. On race number 3 of the chase, you see your top qualifying chaser is Jeff Gordon in the 24. Good job by the Biff and Ryan Newman.
And you look right there in the top 10, 6 of those top 10 non-chase drivers.
Thing I'm impressed with right there, we touched on earlier, Fords on the front row, but they had 5 in the top 10 today. Good qualifying effort for all the Fords.
I believe the guy to watch, I've heard it several times today, the 24 car. He qualified 3rd. Look out for the 24.
Great job qualifying by Bill Elliott. He'll start in row number 6 with chaser Denny Hamlin. Regan Smith also fast as well. Elliott Sadler inside of row 8 and Rudy outside of row number 8.
See Sam Hornish Jr. there, the first car to go out. He'll start on the outside of row 9.
The thing I don't like is where the 48 is starting. I remember back at New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago. Remember how you had to take a lot of chances on the start of the race trying to get up to the front? Then they had trouble in the pits. I don't like it when they qualify that far back.
And all the Richard Childress cars back here in this group. You see Burton, Harvick, and Boyer all right there together.
They have a long way to go, and track position is ultimate at these racetracks these days.
Yeah, when you talk about that, look at Carl Edwards back there on row 16, position number 31. He's got a lot of ground to make up and a lot of people he's got to work around if he wants to be a factor before the end of the race on Sunday.
So then we have Kevin Conway, Tony Raines, and Dave Blaney. Let's take a look at all the chasers together and show you where they're starting. 2 of the top guys are starting a little bit further back. Your highest qualifying chaser was Jeff Gordon, but Jimmy Johnson's going to have to go from the 21st spot.
And if you just look at the numbers from Kansas Speedway, our winner normally comes from a car that starts up near the front. You see there, they're scattered throughout the entire field.
But I've said all along coming here, and I think you guys have too, this is wide open. This is anybody's race. I just don't think there's a real favorite. When Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, the only guys that have won twice, that tells you this is a tough place to win, and it's anybody's race.
And I agree with you there, but at the same time, it's going to take some strategy. But when you start up front, you put a lot of pressure on everybody else because you've got to make some great calls to get that track position, and we know how important that is.
That or else drive like a wild man like we saw those guys do at New Hampshire, and that's what we're going to see here. When they drop that green flag, I would be looking in my mirror for some of those guys that are starting way back.
Is this one of the better places, though, Larry, to have one of these non-chasers upset the pack?
I was just about to say, when I look at qualifying, I have a pretty good feeling about cars like Montoya, McMurray, David Ruderman, guys that run well at the mile-and-a-half racetrack. As far as the chase guys, said it earlier in the day, feel pretty good about Big Daddy, that old 24 car.
You can say what you want to, but I like the numbers that JR brought out. I like Casey Kane starting on that pole right now.
2 guys I want to keep an eye on, the 6 car and the 00. Watch them this weekend.
And congratulations to Richard Petty Motorsports for the first time in the existence of that team. They have swept the front row. Nationwide Series Happy Hour coming up next.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
In the number 3, Wrangler Chevrolet, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I'm a Wrangler guy. Always have been, always will be.
Wrangler Jeans Company. Great fits, unbeatable comfort.
Gotta say, nothing beats Wrangler comfort. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Opulence. I has it. I like the best. This one. But I also like savings the money. So when DirecTV tell me 5 months free for most premium televisions package, I jump in it.
Forget cable. Switch and get 5 months free. Ends October 6. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
And now I'll turn it over to the Gecko.
Ah, thank you, sir. As we all know, Geico has been saving people money on RV, camper and trailer insurance, as well as motorcycle insurance. Ah, sorry. Technical difficulties.
What about this?
What's this one do? Maybe that one.
Okay, let's keep rolling. We run motorcycle insurance?
Take 15 minutes to see how much you could save on motorcycle, RV, and camper insurance.
When NASCAR fans think about NASCAR, they think performance. They think precision. They think quality. And when NASCAR fans think about their own car, they should expect nothing less. When looking for automotive brands that represent performance, precision, and quality, look for the NASCAR Performance family of automotive brands.
It's not over until it's over.
They bang hard, and here comes Kansas, 3 wide to the bottom. Kansas to the inside.
Tickets starting at just $25. Don't miss the Tums Fast Relief 500 on October 24th at Martinsville Speedway.
And leads the way off turn 2 in the last lap. Unbelievable, it's Denny Hamlin heading for home.
Welcome back once again, everyone, to the Kansas Speedway for Happy Hour. Final practice for the Nationwide Series. It is definitely 1 hour. Whether or not it is happy, that is up to the race teams as to where they want to be at the end of this thing. They've already had one practice so far, and that was dominated by Kyle Busch. 90 minutes there, 60 minutes tonight, and look like, or actually this evening, we should say, it is not tonight yet, maybe on the East Coast, but nonetheless, a lot of work still left to be done for the Nationwide Series. Welcome, everyone. I'm John Roberts. He is Phil Parsons, 3-time champ Darrell Waltrip with us here as well. And guys, what do you look for in this practice session, Phil?
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit more thinking about qualifying now, DW. That guys had an earlier practice session. I don't think any one car made a qualifying run. But now, with 6 sets of tires for these Nationwide cars, I think now they may use one of those at least towards the end of this practice session and maybe make a mock qualifying run.
Yeah, actually, if you think about when they're going to qualify in the morning, the track's cooling down, so you get these conditions that are a little bit closer to what maybe they'll be in the morning. So I think you're right, Phil. We'll see these guys tape up, make a couple of laps. That may be about it for some of them. Kyle Busch, what's he going to do? He's the fastest 5, 10, 20, whatever laps they run, he's the fastest all the way through.
Or 2010.
Oh, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see a lot of qualifying runs.
So as far as the regulars go in the Sprint Cup Series, in the first practice, the first 4 positions were Sprint Cup Series regulars for the Nationwide Series. But Eric Almirola was the fastest of the guys who was not a Cup regular, and he's looking to pick that back up again as he's getting ready to have a pretty a bright future here with JR Motorsports.
Yeah, there's no question that this guy was just somebody was going to pick him up and give him a full-time ride. You know, he's tried it in Cup. He's had a couple of shots in truck, and he's running the Truck Series. But this is a great opportunity for Eric to get in this car and be able to run all the races next year.
You know, it shows what the competitors think of Eric when he's standing by for Jeff Gordon on baby duty,
Right.
standing by for Jimmy Johnson on baby duty. So
Right.
he is well thought of in the garage area, and certainly deserving of getting this opportunity with JR Motorsports.
That says a lot about him, but also a lot about the relationship between Hendrick Motorsports and JR Motorsports going down the line in the future.
Well, we know that that 88 bunch over there with Junior Motorsports, I mean, basically it's a Hendrick operation, you know, with the cars and motors and everything else. So I expect great things out of this guy next year.
One interesting thing about this race, Phil, is we've never had a repeat winner. We've had repeat winners on the Cup side here, but it seems like somebody always pulls one out at the last minute to be a new winner. Do you think we see a repeat winner this time around?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, there's a lot of competition here, obviously, and a lot of guys that haven't got the victory lane, but Trevor Bayne had a bit of a moment there, didn't he?
I know one thing, he ain't going to win if he keeps driving like holy
not
mackerel.
on that lap,
yeah,
anyway. But
bring it in, please, son.
But it would not be shocking to see a new winner. But I tell you, you know, you can't look much farther past Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, people like that really dominate this series on a week-in, week-out basis. And certainly Joey Logano, he hasn't got as many wins this year as he would have liked, but if slew of second-place finishes and always runs well. Well,
Logano slipped up on his old teammate there here in last time we were here and passed him late in the race to win the thing. So I don't count Logano out. That team's on the money too.
Right now, Joey Logano is on top of the speed chart. Last time we raced here in the Nationwide Series, it was an absolute Joe Gibbs Racing domination between the two cars, 18 of Kyle Busch, the 20 of Joey Logano. Kyle led most of the laps. Then at the very end, it was Joey Logano who passed him. And that was a situation, Phil, that was going on a lot towards the end of last year in the Nationwide Series, that Joey Logano was passing Kyle Busch in the latter stages of the race.
I think Kyle's returned their favor this year, but, you know, Kyle Busch has led something like 34 or 5% of all the laps run this season, and he's missed, I think, 5 races, but he's won 8 of the last 13 nationwide races.
Last year in this race, the JGR cars led all but 23 laps of the race.
That's domination.
That's pretty much got this place figured out.
And Joey Logano, your defending race winner, was his fastest as of right now after just quick 2 laps out on the track. But now he's coming in.
But guys, how many races do you think that Kyle Busch has won in the Nationwide Series in the last 3 years? And obviously, we have some more racing to go.